So I felt like I had done something wrong, and I needed to like kind of like get a pardon from God to like help.
So you thought say yeah, punish you.
It's not even a punishment,
Why
but
BB?
yeah, cause okay, so this is the thing. Regardless of even if God forgives you, the consequences are going to still happen because you did that. So you have to face the crime.
And your punishment then yes more.
So like at a point, my prayer kept, and I'll go to an appointment and it's worse. I'll go to an appointment and worse. So the last one before my surgery, the oncologist, and I don't know if I had mentioned this, I got a second opinion. So I went from Mount Carmel to OSU to Stephanie Spellman. And there I had a Ghanaian doctor, Bridget Opong. She was amazing. And she was always like, you have got to be the most optimist patient I've ever had.
I mean, sitting here, you would think that me interview because you like I love it. Like your spirit, that's the reason why you're still here, my sister. Because I love it. I love your energy, and now I know why it couldn't beat you down. You know, that's awesome.
She's like, you are not worried about. I'm like, you guys are too serious for all of us. Like every time y'all come in, it's something serious. So I got to the point where I didn't care what the doctors had to say anymore because it was always something worse, and it's progressing really, really bad. And so when I told my doctor, I told her that I'm believing that God is going to heal me. Okay. So the surgery is not even going to happen. Like, you guys are going to discover that I'm fine. And she's looking at me, she's like, Angie, if you don't come here, I will personally call the cops.
Wow.
And send them to your house. And drag you here for me to do the surgery.
Wow.
And I'm like, no, I'll come because you need to discover that I don't. So I had that mentality.
Right.
It's not like people might think it's a wrong mentality and I just needed to deal with it. Yeah, I dealt with it. I cried for 2 weeks. I didn't want to leave my room. There are times that like he will come to the room and I'll be laying on the bed crying. And I don't know how to be that person because my whole life I've been a strong person. Like I don't know how many times I could count people see me cry. So I didn't know how to be that way with him. Okay. And I didn't want him to see me like that because I felt like, oh, I'm supposed to be strong. How is he supposed to feel? Exactly. He's the one who has to deal with the person he married going through this. Right. So how am I going to let him down? And he would come to the room, make food. Oh, you want to eat? And I didn't feel. That's why I say it's very easy to slip into depression.
Clint was making food?
Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
The skills. You
know, I learn things every day on CashMoTv. And I must say, I never knew Clint can cook. Wow.
The skills this man developed within that span of me going through.
So I know I come you don't cook. Okay. You be hungry. So
in the light of
YouTube, what can you make? I mean, what can you make?
I'm gonna say this embarrassing story. Okay. And I apologize in advance, babe. You know I love you. Yeah. I love you. I love you.
I'm here for it. I love it. Let's go. Let's do it.
So
how many plates did he burn? How many pots did he burn before he cooked the spaghetti? Yeah.
After the surgery, I couldn't go upstairs, so I was sleeping downstairs in the couch and stuff. And then one time he got up, he was so excited. He's like, oh babe, I made you French toast, blah blah blah, and eggs and sausage. And I'm like, French toast? I was like, yeah, I haven't had French toast in such a long time. Yeah. This man brought me my wonderful plate. Eggs, sunny side up eggs. It had bacon, it had sausage. Wow. And then it had
Baba even scrambled.
It had a wonderful French toast that he had made. He put wheat bread in a pan and just flipped it and poured syrup.
I thought he was supposed to add egg. Nah, I mean what?
So you can imagine.
Wow, that's more like syrup toast. syrup Mentos. Well, you're French enough to baby.
You can imagine how excited I was from hearing, babe. I made you French
toast. You're like, okay.
To seeing it, I was like, oh.
And then you got syrup toast. That's cool.
So, I was like, okay, I ate it.
Oh yeah, at this point, yeah. You still live on CashMoTv. You know, like I said, I don't do interviews. All right, I do conversation, and doing conversation, anything can happen. All right, I'm thankful for my sister's life. We are not about to sit here and we are all quiet and we are no. Look, she's alive, she's happy, she's well, she's strong. We just here to spread her message and then help to inspire the next person. Like if you're going through some of these things, have the right attitude and everything is gonna be all right. All right. So we're not going to take too long with the conversation. We're almost there. We going to the next level. I think you was talking about the surgery thing. So yeah, we can wrap up to the surgery.
Yeah. So with the surgery, first of all, my doctor told me that I have to do surgery. I have to do chemo. I have to do radiation. But they'll have to do the surgery first to see how advanced it is and if chemo is even going to help or whatever the case was. So with them, with the second opinion, they kind of took chemo off the table for now. Whereas the first one, I had to do chemo. And that was one of my biggest worry because I know that with chemo comes a whole lot of other situations. So I remember after the surgery, I did the surgery March 16th of this year, and March 16th, 2020, dear God. Wow. I went in thinking at 5 a.m. thinking, you know what, within 2 hours they're gonna discover that I don't have this situation, I don't have cancer, blah blah. I woke up at like 7 something p.m.
After you went in at 5
a.m. I woke up at 7 p.m. And I'm looking around.
Whole 12 hours.
I'm telling you, I couldn't talk because they had literally the surgery. They took my whole breast and then they cut here to take muscle and fat out to try and reconstruct my breast. And I made that decision. They could have put in silicone or but I made that decision because with silicone you have to keep going back and I didn't want that to be a stigma for me to always be remembering and going back to try and fix. So I didn't want to do that. So they did that, the surgery for me. And so you have to understand pain here, pain here. I can't sit like this because it hurts and I can't do this because it hurts. So the whole time I'm just laying down. And I think 3 days after I came home, I was in the hospital for quite some time. And then I came home. 3 days after I came home, there was an infection in my breast and I had to go back. And that's when Corona had hit. So I went back to the hospital, emergency. And when I went back, he couldn't stay because it was Corona and everything. So in that moment, I was like, wait, what? No.
That part is oh man, that was crazy.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So when the doctors came back, they're like, the way the infection, it looks like they'll have to go in there and redo. I'm like, redo what? I don't have anything left to take. And at that point, they were talking, they didn't know if I was gonna be able to make it out of the second surgery. So it was a matter of they would have to try everything first. And then in the next 2 days, if it doesn't get better.
They told you they didn't what?
They didn't know if I was going to make it through the second surgery.
Hey. Wow.
Yeah. So with it all, thank God, I was in the hospital crying and praying. And mind you, I couldn't even talk. I couldn't talk the whole time. With any major surgery, it takes a while, and plus they went in and through, so it takes a while. So after everything, I went back to my oncologist, and she's like, look, he was like, look.
So they took
They cut me all the way from here to here.
Wow.
And took muscle, tissue, and fat to try and like reconstruct. So I don't know if you guys can see. Now I can do this. I didn't know how I was going to. Let's just say it took a lot of strength and prayer. So the difference between the two. Right. So yeah.
Wow. That alone right there is it's a different surgery crowd. Wow.
Yeah. So I met with my oncologist and he's like, "Oh, Angelina, I'm sorry to tell you, but your case is worse than most of the ones that we've seen, because one, they took out 22 lymph nodes, and 8 of them were infected with the cancer cells, which had traveled through my body. So he said, with you, we're going to do chemo, radiation, and you're going to be on hormone therapy for 10 years. And within that 10 years, you're not going to be able to have kids until after, and then we'll take it out. And then, so in that time, I'm going to be testing all the time, because the way the cancer cell had traveled through my body, it could come back as another breast cancer or something else on my body. And I said, I refuse that in Jesus' name. Wow. Like, I'm crying. I'm like, no, that's not. And I recorded that conversation because I was expecting it to be a different conversation. So I recorded it to try and send to my parents, because my parents are in Massachusetts. And it just, all you can hear is me crying. All you can hear is me crying. And I'm glad I recorded it, because I didn't even know how I was going to explain that to my parents.
Right.
So
well, that's a lot.
It's a lot. And I was expecting a better result. And that's the problem with, like, you know, when you pray, you're expecting something to be different. And at every angle, like from the time I heard this, with the prayer I'm praying, at every angle is something worse. It's something different. But there's, it doesn't change who God is. Right. It doesn't change the fact that what he said about me is still going to come to pass. It doesn't change who I am in the sight of God. It's just a matter of something that needs to happen now for me to get to where I'm supposed to get to. So.
You're still live here on CashMoTv with your man CashMo with Sister Angela. And I'm just amazed, man. So if you see her and she's in good spirit, my brother, my sister, listen, she have every right to praise, because that's amazing. For a doctor to tell you this surgery you're about to have, you might not make it. Hey, that alone can kill you. That alone, that word alone. And no credit to me, I'm going to surrender. I can say their family call.
Oh, I did. You know, I told him.
And that is crazy. But man, so we getting ready to wrap up. So you come out of the surgery. You know, how long did it take you for you to be back to yourself again? Like, at least to be able to walk, to be able to sit. How long did it take?
So they advised that I should be walking. It wasn't easy. I had tubes, suction tubes, 4 of them, which was how they were going to determine how I'm healing and everything. So it was suctioning the surgery part, because you know it gets swollen and stuff. So I had that on me for a while, and I couldn't shower, which was the worst part. I think the day they told me I could shower, oh my God. But my husband was, when I say cleaning me from top to bottom, I give him all the kudos, because he's just awesome. Amazing. He's just amazing. Awesome. So walking, I couldn't do up and down the stairs because of how it was. Right. But I tried to walk, and they gave me this breathing. So I was doing a lot of breathing therapy and a lot of breathing exercises. I think they gave me 12 weeks to heal, and then Corona hit, and then our job, we started working from home. So after like, I think 7 weeks, I'm like, I was tired. I was done being, you know. So I would just call my manager. I'm like, you know what, I would like to get back to work. And she's like, are you sure? Take your time. You know, you had a major. So I'm like, you know what, if I hear one more thing about surgery or this thing, I think I'm going to scream. I need a distraction. Right. So then I started going back to work, and I was, you know, so that helped. And then God gave me this organization, and I finally understood why I had to go through what I had to go through. And a lot of my friends say, you know, you're such a strong person. I don't think I could have done it. I'm like, I'm a strong person, so this should happen. Like, I'm the person that can handle this, so it should be me. Right. But I guess in the long run, it makes sense because I will be able to get people to go through it, get people to talk about it.
Because your attitude alone it means that it was, I wouldn't say it was meant for you, but I think it was a way, I wouldn't say that it's meant for you, but it was a way for God to also give you that message, you know, to spread to the world. So, I can, you know, definitely understand the reason why that person made that comment. But, you know, so it happened, you know, you went back to work. What was the most challenging part after everything? What was thing that or when you go to sleep at night, what used to bug you about this whole experience thing that you went through? What was the most challenging part about it?
I think the most challenging part was not being able to conceive till after 10 years. I think that's the part that had me question God day in and day out, that, you know, because I'm a newlywed, and I feel like he got the wrong one, or I use this word all the time. I feel like he got a defective wife, because this is not what he signed up for. This is not even what I signed up for as my life. But I felt like I can deal with this. I mean, I will cry, I will do whatever, but I will be okay. But that's not what he signed up for. Yeah, we say it very easy, for better and for worse, and richer and poor.
Of course.
In that mindset, you're thinking when we are old and, you know, taking care of it. Like, that's where you go. Or you think of like a little cold or some morning sickness or pregnancy. But you never think in terms of like something like this. Right? And I'm just like, I've been a healthy person my whole life. And all of a sudden this hits. Like, where did I go wrong? And why am I being punished for this happening to me, where it was not in my genetics, it's not something I did. So why is it that now I have to live through this for the next 10 years? 10 plus years, because they have to wait for the medication to leave my system for me to even begin to start trying. Plus, not forgetting that chemo also kills your eggs. So, yeah, it's crazy.
Wow.
But
that
I know God is faithful. I know God is faithful. Like
that right there. That's a lot to swallow. And if it's with any other man, you definitely got the right person. So,
yes.
We definitely gonna talk to Clint soon here as well on CashMo. So let's talk about moving forward. So after everything is done, you know, like you said, that you feel like, you know, God use this as an example to start something also within you. So what was that thing that you start doing as far as the organization and stuff like that?
Yes. It's called The Pink Among Us. And it's an organization geared towards the African community in Columbus. And with time, as time goes on, we're going to expand. The reason for this organization the main reason is, one, a lot of people lose their job when it comes to this. Luckily for me, I'm married. We have 2 income coming in. My FMLA was 60%.
Okay.
With his income, if I live by myself, 60% is not going to do anything. But with his income coming in, it was helpful. Some people lose their job due to the fact that the job needs to go on. I mean, how many companies are going to give you 3-4 months for you to be home and healing? And also with this situation, with the chemo and everything, the chemo was the most hardest part, like, that I had to deal with. I had to deal with the 10-year aspect of it. But the chemo was the hardest part I had to deal with, because it changes everything about you. With different types of wigs. I was bold enough and I accepted it, and I rocked my bald head.
You did lose your hair.
I lost my hair, but I rocked my bald head. But that's because I accepted it. And I didn't care. After you go through something, like, you don't care how you look because it's a blessing enough for you to be alive. So I rocked it, but not everybody can do that. And the purchase of hair, depending on what your insurance is, and with the way the chemo is, you can't just put any wig on your head because the pores in your hair are actually like kind of open. So you need, like when I lay down, my head gets cold and then it's hot, and then so I'm either wrapping my head, and it's so many things. Your skin gets sensitive, your smell, your taste, everything gets sensitive. So in that aspect, the more you're going through this, you have to spend more money. And I remember before my doctor started chemo, he spoke to me about wanting to freeze my eggs. Okay. Because of how intense the chemo is. And I was into it, I was keen to it. When I went, the price was $20-something thousand. And I don't have that kind of money. Two, they had other scholarships that can help. They're giving $1,000 here, $2,000 here. But I couldn't qualify because I already have one child. So these are for people who don't have any at all. Okay. Also advanced in a little bit, like advanced in age, or so.